Welcome! Okay, so we are going to fix this restoration hardware lamp. It is not working. The other lamp, there's two of them. One lamp shocks you, one lamp just doesn't work. We're gonna start with the lamp that doesn't work and see if we can figure out if we need to replace some parts or if we just have a loose wire. Let's jump into it.
This lamp repair was a request from a family member. I was under the impression that it didn't even turn on and it wasn't receiving any power, but it seems like it does receive power. Although messing with the actual turn knob mechanism for dimming, there's definitely something going on here as far as the dimmer. So we're going to disassemble this and take a look.
Okay, safety first. We're unplugged.
First things first is to remove the light bulb and get the lampshade out of the way. And we can take a look at the socket, and definitely we've got a problem here. Looks like it's burned out. We're going to want to replace this for sure. Unthreading the top from the main part of the housing. Looks like we have a cardboard insulation slip. I'm sure that's to help prevent any arcing from the wires onto the outer metal housing or direct contact in general. Plus, I'm sure it helps keep a comfortable temperature so the housing doesn't heat up too much. Connections on the inside look pretty good though, just giving it a visual. No problem with the regulator circuit, so it looks like it was just within the socket housing. I'll go ahead and pull the custom knob off and we'll unscrew the wires and get the socket out and see if we can't find a match for it. Before I unscrew the wiring though, I am going to put some marker tape on here so I know which lead wire went to the brass clip. This way, just set it back exactly how it was when I replace it with the new socket. Now, since this unit is definitely unrepairable and burned out at its connector point, even looks like a little bit of damage on what I presume is the circuit that helps modulate the dimming, we'll go ahead and jump onto the interwebs and see if we can't navigate our way into finding a direct replacement part. When first searching, a lot of housing assemblies popped up as options, but after digging a little bit deeper, was able to get just to the inner socket units. There are a couple of different options I could go with. The original unit was a high-low, so it had an off, a dim, and then a high. And then there's also a three-way switch like this one that I could replace it with, which would give me off, low, medium, and high. But I'm just going to go ahead and replace it with the original. After digging around a little bit more, I was able to locate this particular one around on Amazon, made it easy, and looks like it's exact replacement. It's a high-low switch, very similar, so we're going to go ahead and get this one ordered. For now, I'm just going to store all the excess parts away, label them correctly, and we'll wait for the replacement part to come in, which after a few days, about a week, we were able to get the delivery. And as we can see, the new part, same size, same markings, pretty much exact replica. So we're going to get this installed. Although I do need to get this plastic knob off. It actually was on pretty tight, and I was a little fearful of damaging the switch by rotating it too far backwards. I didn't have a pair of pliers that were small enough, but I did have some forceps that I could lock in place. So these worked perfectly, just to get in that small amount of space, lock it in place, and then be able to back off the knob. And this ended up working out just perfectly. Screw the original knob back on, and then nobody will be the wiser. And now we can get the socket rewired back up. Gave the braided wires just a little bit of a twist, a right hook, and that way when we screw it back on, it'll just pull everything to the right. Once it's nice and snug and I'm feeling good about it, we'll slip that cardboard insulation back on top and we'll get the housing screwed on in. And this is actually where I ran into a little bit of a snag. The threads were not locking in very well. Even when I got it, it was a little bit loose, so something was wrong.
Okay, the problem is that when you screw this on, it's not totally catching. It stays on for a sec, but if you just wiggle it, it pops right out. So I looked at the threads. The threads don't look like they need to be redone. There's a little bit of wear here, but I really think it's that the diameter here is squished in. And since there's this opening here, I think I just need to somehow stretch this out a little bit to get the threads to really lock into place. So let me see if I can stretch this out. Okay, you don't always have the right tool for the job, but
There was a loud plane overhead and that ruined the audio. So going back to voiceover, just grab this chisel handle. I think this will work pretty well. So I just slipped it on at the angle and give it a little bit of love. Sometimes you just gotta be firm with it.
Got it wedged in pretty good.
And this ended up working out just perfectly. I'm glad I went with a soft wood so I didn't damage the metal sheathing. If I had used metal to try and open it up a little bit, could have gotten it wonky, but this worked out just perfectly and was just the right amount of size. And I can clean that up later if I want to reattach a file or a chisel back to it. Regardless, that was the perfect tool for this particular job. Was able to widen out that space just enough to get the threads to lock in perfectly. And now it's nice and secure. Doing a final test with the ball bin. Working great. And we are now back in business. A successful repair. Wonderful. Go ahead and get this cleaned up and we can ship it back home. Well, this was about as much fun as a barrel of kittens. So I guess now the only thing to do is move on to a new project.